All right, good afternoon, everybody. Apologize for the delay. My technology was not working, so I need to get us, I'm just going old school with a piece of paper. So, excuse me, why are you doing that? Thank you. So we're just going to go in, I think, in the order that I have on this piece of paper right here, and that's starting with Ada Jenkins. So you're going to have about, good to see you. You're going to have 5 minutes, and Mr. Smith back there is going to be our timekeeper, so just keep an eye on him, and he'll give you the signal when to stop, and you can start.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I got new prescriptions, so I hadn't got my new glasses yet, so please forgive me if I have to do like this. I'm getting old. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to come before this body. For many years, the Ada Jenkins Center has proudly served this incredible community in meaningful and lasting ways. In my relatively short time with the organization, we've undergone a significant transformation, realigning our programming and services to match both our organizational strengths and, more importantly, the greatest needs of the neighbors we serve. Our ultimate goal is to help individuals and families achieve long-term economic stability. Recently, we've added a new line of service that enhances our mission, an opportunity born from the unfortunate closing of a fellow nonprofit that has served this region for more than 90 years. Ada Jenkins Center has now acquired Community Link's asset building program, which included pre-purchase, foreclosure, post-purchase counseling, as well as financial empowerment workshops, focused on topics such as estate planning, credit building, and budgeting. We also are proud to now serve as the premier provider of the IRS's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, better known as VITA, in Mecklenburg County. We were previously managing 2 VITA sites, one right here in Huntersville at the library. We now operate 9 free tax preparation locations, increasing access for low and moderate income families across the region. During the pandemic, the town of Huntersville, Cornelius, and Davidson entrusted us with $750,000 in COVID relief funds to support families in crisis, helping them avoid eviction, maintain access to utilities, and stay afloat during the unprecedented time. While that funding has sunset, the need has not. That fact, over the past 4 years, we have continued this work using primarily our own limited resources. To just give one example, last year, 56% of the Huntersville residents we served came for our critical financial assistance, totaling nearly $165,000 in support. And this year, the need has already outpaced our ability to help. Sadly, we were forced to pause the program due to lack of funding. In simple terms, we ran out of money. We are deeply grateful for the ongoing financial and strategic support we've received from the town of Huntersville. It's a partnership we deeply value and one we hope we continue. I fully recognize our current request is substantial, but I ask you to consider the alternative. What happens to our neighbors if we are not here to catch them? If we can't raise enough private dollars to keep the homeless prevention program going, who will take the burden of keeping families in their homes? Who will ensure children have electricity and internet access to complete their homework? As more and more organizations close due to financial strain, we are seeing the safety net weaken. But thanks to your past support and the dedication work of the Ada Jenkins Center and our community partners, we have kept intact. With your continued investment, we can do even more. And in closing, I want to thank this board and not only supporting the Ada Jenkins Center, but standing behind all the local nonprofits who are doing the critical everyday work of serving our community. On behalf of our families we serve, thank you, and sincerely thank you for your continued support.
Thank you very much. Board, do you have any questions for Ada Jenkins? Commissioner Dumas? Y'all have let me say y'all have 2 minutes for questions.
I understand. I have some questions about the revenue report in the details we have. It looks like, compared to previous years, fiscal year 26 looks really different. And I just wanted some clarification because, you've got United Way and federal and state funding significantly higher than years past, where there's local contributions looks like it's expected to be almost, I don't know, 60% less than other years. Can you help me understand all that?
Sure, yeah, we acquired, again, the Community Link closed in the early part of the year, we acquired one of their homeless grants directly from HUD. And so that was about $262,000. We also had a transfer of a grant, again, from another organization. They're not closed, but they are getting out of that homeless prevention business, the Housing Collaborative. And that grant was to serve individuals fleeing domestic violence. That was at the tune of nearly close to $700,000. That grant in particular, we have been floating because of the government's issues with HUD. So we have seen an uptick for government funding, but that will just be primarily one time. You know, that's not good business to be in, because I'm not sure if when you get HUD funding, you have to match it 25%. So every 75 cents you got to bring in a quarter. And so we can do that this year, but that won't be sustainable long term. And so we also have seen a dip in individual support. Obviously, people are holding on to their resources and unsure of what's next. So that's the explanation there. Sure.
Commissioner Bergsman?
Hey. Two things. The first, really quick. When I looked on your website, I couldn't find your most recent annual report. Are you able to email it to us?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. And then the second one is actually a question for you, but also any other organization that's presenting tonight that receives federal or state funding. I'm just curious, with all the turmoil on the federal level and with grants and funding, how or if there's been much of an impact on your revenue streams coming from federal grants.
Yeah, the impact is the float, right? It's making sure you have at least 45 days to be able to float the contracts. Again, the other part of it is if you get a new contract with HUD, at this point in time, they're having transition at the HUD level, where your point of contact, our point of contact is in Greensboro, actually. They can hold up your contract for a while. You do have a contract, but you have to have some resource to be able to float those. And as I mentioned, one of the contracts we took over in late '24, and we still haven't been paid for it. But because we have resources to be able to float those, we can. Now, we can call that due with our line of credit, but we don't want to do that. We don't want to use our line of credit for that. But so to answer your question, I think those will be challenges going forward for organizations to get in the game, if you will, of government funding because of the float and the uncertainty of when you'll be paid.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Harold.
Thank you for your time.
All right, next will be Angels and Sparrows. Cindy.
Good afternoon. I'm Cindy Deutsch, Development Director for Angels and Sparrows Community Table and Resource Center here in Huntersville. On behalf of Angels and Sparrows and those we serve, I'd like to express my gratitude to the town for allocating funds to support local nonprofit organizations in the coming year's budget. In a thriving community like ours, it's hard to imagine that there is anyone living in poverty. The reality is that there are thousands of residents experiencing financial hardship. We appreciate that the town recognizes that the needs of Huntersville residents vary significantly. Angels and Sparrows offers programs, connections, and resources that help people escape poverty. We empower families to overcome barriers and gain upward mobility by ensuring food security and providing access to essential educational opportunities. Over the past 17 years, Angels and Sparrows has played a critical role in meeting the food security needs of vulnerable Huntersville residents, providing more than 1.6 million meals through our seated meal service, fresh food marketplace, emergency pantry, neighborhood outreach, and summer bag lunch program. We're the only nonprofit in Huntersville providing reliable access to food each weekday. In addition to meals, we also provide referrals to other nonprofit partners for clothing, food, shelter, and healthcare. We submitted 2 requests, one for our food security program and one for the Pathway program. We requested funding to sustain our food security initiatives, In addition to food, we incur expenses for cleaning supplies, trash removal, water, electricity, insurance, gas, staff salaries, and more. The town's support means a senior citizen will not have to be forced to choose between getting their prescription filled or purchasing groceries. It assures a parent that their child will have access to at least one nutritious meal each day while school is closed for summer break. It means that a person without a functioning stove or oven can access a home-cooked meal 5 days a week. Every day, we meet families who are working hard to make ends meet. Families who, despite their effort and determination, are held back by barriers they did not build. Barriers rooted in generational poverty, limited access to opportunity, and a lack of guidance through the complex world of education and career preparation. Our Pathway program assists families in overcoming these barriers by empowering them with educational opportunities such as ESL and high school equivalency classes, mentoring, tutoring, and college and career readiness training. As you may recall, the Equality of Opportunity Report, released in 2014, which studied economic mobility in America's largest cities, ranked Charlotte dead last. The report indicated that children born into poverty in Charlotte, North Carolina, had a 4% chance of escaping. Over the last 10 years, progress has been made, with an updated report last year revealing that Charlotte has improved its upward mobility, moving from 50th to 38th among America's largest cities. Programs like ours, which uses a two-generation framework to increase household income and improve long-term outcomes, have played a role in this progress. At Angels and Sparrows, we believe that a child's future should not be determined by their household income. We envision a community where every person has the opportunity to reach their full potential. We believe in possibility. Our program exists to rewrite what the data says is probable. It exists to offer a different story, one filled with hope, direction, and tangible success. I'd like to take a moment to share one of many success stories resulting from our program. Joanna and her family enrolled in our program 2 years ago. It was the beginning of Joanna's junior year of high school. With both parents working, Joanna's household income is just under $40,000 a year, and they pay 26% of their income for rent. When Joanna joined our program 2 years ago, she was making B's and C's in her classes. With the support of our tutoring program, she transformed her academic performance, earning straight A's and graduating in the top 5% of her class. College and career readiness workshops and campus tours helped her understand what she was looking for in a college. Along the way, she earned a certificate through our workforce development program, enabling her to secure a part-time job in the culinary field. This fall, Joanna will attend Wake Forest University with plans to study business. The Pathway program's two-generation framework has been instrumental in her success, providing comprehensive support not only for her, but for her entire family. Her mother takes ESL classes and has completed a culinary certificate, while her younger siblings are also enrolled in the program. This holistic support system has empowered the entire family to overcome barriers and strive for a brighter future. Joanna's story is just a glimpse into what's possible when opportunity meets effort and when hope is met with action. Joanna and her family and families like theirs are putting in the hard work. Our program offers them access to an evidence-informed framework and guidance. With your continued investment, we can continue offering more than just programs. We can offer a path from poverty to financial stability. The true return is generational. Children who believe they belong on college campuses, parents who reclaim education, and communities where success is not the exception, it's the expectation. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
I'll answer questions.
Commissioner Walsh.
Thank you. I know the county has cut a lot of funding to nonprofits this year. I see that you had a pretty good cut there. I mean, there wasn't a reduction, but they simply cut off the Pathway programs for whatever you were going to ask, $400,000 plus dollars. Any reason not just a reduction or?
So the funding was American Rescue Plan Act, and that ended April 30th. And so we're working to replace that funding. You know, the plan that we had in place in the fall when we put our budget together is, of course, off the rails now with changes to federal funding, which have trickled down to the county, not providing grants to nonprofits. And so it's going to take us longer to replace that funding than we originally anticipated. Another thing we're seeing is just, you know, the funding marketplace is saturated because everyone's trying to replace those funds that they're not going to get, so.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bergson?
I just have one. So it looks like the numbers of folks that you're serving is increasing in a lot of the areas. I'm curious if what you're seeing in our community is if you feel like you're expanding your outreach or if there's more need in our community.
So I feel as though in our food security programming, we've definitely expanded our outreach, working with neighborhoods. We work with East Huntersville Community Outreach in Pottstown and the Neighborhood Care Center in Cornelius. I feel with our Pathway program, we had 80 families, 150 individuals this past program year, which just ended. And right now, we're just looking to sustain that because we have to replace that funding. Ideally, we'd like to grow the program. We have 60 families on the wait list. 30 of those families do not have children, so of course, we would prioritize families with children because it's a two-generation program. But right now, our goal is just to, you know, sustain the program. So hope that answers your question.
Anybody else? Commissioner Dumas?
I noticed that there was a significant increase in your fundraisers planned for 26, and then also significant decrease in your expenses. Did you, looks like you've made cuts, or, I don't know.
Which budget?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in the pathways.
Let's see.
So I was curious about some of those changes you made. What other fundraiser or what you did to increase the fund. I guess I'm just curious about the difference in numbers. Everything else looked pretty consistent across the board.
The increase is for our golf tournament. So we are no longer doing our annual fundraising dinner. And so, you know, our assumption was that some of those people who sponsored, some of the companies who sponsored that event would move over to our golf tournament. So that's why that is a significant increase, and we need to increase the amount that's raised through that golf tournament, so.
Okay. And the expenses, how were you able to make cuts there, or is that temporary or not on purpose, or just?
No, we had to because we knew that funding was shrinking, not shrinking, but the 400,000. So I think the biggest change is in tutoring. So instead of tutoring 2 days a week, they're going to have tutoring 1 day a week and homework help the other day. And so that was the biggest, you know, cost savings we could do without, you know, jeopardizing the core of the program, really.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Next is Bags of Hope.
I think we skipped one, Mayor.
Request is blank.
Oh,
So does that mean that they don't have any? Oh, they did, okay. Sorry, their line was blank on my page, so I wasn't sure. How about Arts and Sciences? We'll go ahead and go, yep.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Do I need to lean in? Does that work? Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having the Arts and Science Council here today. My name is Raina Campbell. I serve as our communications manager. ASC is a supporting organization of the Foundation for the Carolinas. And at ASC, excuse me, we'd like to say that we are Charlotte-Mecklenburg's local cultural arts agency. And one thing that we're really trying to emphasize within the community is that Charlotte is bigger than Uptown and that Mecklenburg County is bigger than Charlotte. And so we're really committed to partnering with Huntersville and with surrounding towns to really steward that mission. And so at the Arts and Science Council, we serve as a resource hub for arts, science, history, and heritage organizations and creative individuals within the Charlotte-Mecklenburg region. And our mission is to foster an inclusive, sustainable, culturally rich, and engaged community where the arts, science, and history play a pivotal role in enhancing the quality of life for all. Some of the work that we do, including our artist support grants, our free culture block events, school funding partnerships, and public art investments are making a lasting impact, helping creatives live, work, and thrive in our city, and ensuring every resident feels a sense of belonging and has access to transformative experiences. At the Arts and Science Council, we believe that art, science, and history are more than just cultural experiences, but are catalysts for growth, inclusion, community engagement, and economic vitality. Some highlights of the work that we do in the Huntersville area that I'd just like to bring to everyone's attention include some public art management. Public art is one of the core programs of ASC. We are the stewards of the City of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County's 1% tax ordinance on public art. And so if you've been to Holbrook Park and have seen the Sculpt Tour, as we like to call it, if you walk around Holbrook Park, you'll see a number of public art pieces, including some really beautiful sculptures that we were able to manage. At the Waymer Rec Center, we've been able to manage that public art. And if anybody has been on the Greenway Tunnel under 85 and seen the digital art installment State of Flow, you'll see what we talk about when we say that public art is transformative. I personally would not want to go in a tunnel 30 feet underground, but after that art installment, not only am I, but a lot of community members are excited to literally get underground and explore that art. Culture Block programming is another core program of ours. It's in partnership with Mecklenburg County, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Public Libraries, and the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Recreation Centers. So working with that, with the Waymer Rec Center team and the Charlotte-Mecklenburg North County Regional Public Library is a core function of our work, and we worked with about $85,000 in funding through those various programs in Huntersville in our last fiscal year. Some of the other programs that we've worked with include signature programs with the town of Huntersville, like the Hello Huntersville Festival. And so we're asking the town of Huntersville to continue their funding model that they've worked with alongside ASC to continue to allow us to serve the residents of Huntersville and at a broader level to help us make Mecklenburg County, North Carolina's regional arts powerhouse. So I'm happy to answer any questions now.
All right, any questions for Arts and Sciences? Commissioner Bursman?
Hey, so on your revenue and expenses form, I just had a question because for 2025 and projected 2026, you have kind of total revenue at like 14.4 and 15.3, but your expenses at 8.6 and 9.3. I was just, that's a chunk of difference between revenue and expenses. Can you help clarify why?
Yeah, so I'll speak candidly. I'm stepping in for our executive director today, and that line item on the budget is something that I'm unfamiliar with and would be hesitant to speak on. I don't know if terms of the funding request, if that's information you have to get today on the podium. I'm also happy to get your contact information and pass that question along to our executive director and get that answered to you by end of business tomorrow, if that's okay.
Yes, and probably email it to the whole board.
To the whole board? Okay, perfect.
Any other questions? Okay. All right. Now we will have Bags of Hope. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for fitting us in.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Ashley Knightish, and I'm joined by Nicole Feeler. We're here today on behalf of Bags of Hope. On behalf of the board, I'd like to thank all of you in the town of Huntersville for the continued support you've shared with our organization the past several years and for placing an importance on our mission in the community. For many of us in the Lake Norman area, when we say there's nothing to eat at the house, what we mean is there's nothing we want that might be in our house on hand at the moment. But for many of the students that we're serving, when they open their refrigerator or their pantries, there literally is no food on the shelves or in the refrigerator. Bags of Hope goal is to provide each of our students with a weekend bag of food to cover them from when they leave school Friday afternoon and until they return Monday morning. North Carolina ranks 10th in the nation for households experiencing food insecurity. 1 in 6 households or 1 in 6 students in Mecklenburg County are suffering from food insecurity. And out of CMS's 143,000 students, 50% of them receive free meals, breakfast and lunch during the school day. Of those 143,000 students, 5,685, or roughly 4% of CMS school population, are the McKinney-Vento designated students. And of those CMS schools, there are 242 McKinney-Vento students in the town of Huntersville alone. Not eating regularly over the weekend has a profound impact on our students. Students experiencing hunger due to inadequate nutrition may suffer from impaired concentration, learning, and social and behavioral problems, along with issues with health and development. Our goal in providing weekend food for each of these students is to help alleviate the cognitive and the physical implications resulting from food insecurity. While we're meeting these needs over the weekend, truly our ultimate goal is to change a student's pathway for their future and lifelong opportunities, not just to impact their weekend. While we are not in direct contact with our families, we serve as a middleman through our schools. We do send home a family survey one time a year. We just got some of the information back, and 82% of the families we are serving reported they find it always or sometimes difficult to feed everyone in their household. 59% said that the weekend backpack of food was their main source for each of their children. 94% said that the backpacks helped them worry less about feeding their children. And 82% said they had noticed an improvement in their children's performance at school. While many of us live in what I consider the late Norman bubble, the need for food and lack of resources for many families in our area is a real need in Huntersville and our surrounding communities. Bags of Hope has become a reliable resource for food in our schools, and we work hard with our school contacts to maintain open lines of communication and support for each of their families. We are very discreet with our delivery process. We don't send anything home that has Bags of Hope to our students. We want them to maintain their dignity and just want to work behind the scenes to help these students. We're currently serving 34 schools in 3 counties. 12 of the schools are in Huntersville. We do serve elementary through high school, and at the end of the school year, we were providing weekend food bags for 750 students. Of those, 315 students attend schools in Huntersville. That number is up from 270 in 2024 and up from 171 in 2023. And I will turn it over to Nicole.
Hi. The reason we're asking for another grant from the town of Huntersville is because 42 of the students that we're serving live in this town. We're actively serving students in 10 schools here in Huntersville, just as Ashley shared. And we thank you for your support over the last 3 years. We had a record-breaking year, again, at Bags of Hope. We distributed 26,251 bags throughout the school year, which is about 221,000 meals. And although we served an average of 750 every weekend, we served up to 943 students over the holiday breaks with our larger bags. We are asking for the $25,000 from the town this year. That amount would cover 25 students. That $1,000 will sponsor 1 student for the school year. That's up from $750 last year due to the increased food cost that we're all familiar with. So this would help in providing those bags every weekend of the school year, helping to eliminate food insecurity for 25 students in Huntersville. I'll close by just saying it's a village. It takes a village to make things happen at Bags of Hope. We have amazing volunteer support, 100 to 150 volunteers helping each week at our packing events, at our food drives. Many of the town of Huntersville, individuals who come and help, and local businesses and students from schools. So we couldn't do it without all of the support, including yours. So thank you again.
Thank you. Commissioner Walsh?
Yeah, just one quick one. In the expense category, you've got about, I guess for this year, 18,500 in unusable food?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yes. So when we receive food donations from the community through food drives, we always receive items we can't use. They're not bad items necessarily, not even necessarily expired, but maybe they're too large for our bags. So we donate that food out, usually to Nourish Up in Huntersville, sometimes to other of our fellow nonprofits here. And so we categorize it as that in our budget.
Commissioner Dumas?
It looks like you run consistently with heavier expenses than your resources. What happens when you run out of money each year? What do you do?
So we have been very fortunate that we have not run out of money. We do have a reserve fund. The board requires us to maintain a minimum of 6 months in reserves. Let's call it the hit by the bus program. If something catastrophic happens, we know that we would be able to continue through the remainder of the school year without there being a disruption in our services. This year, while we were budgeted to serve 800 students per the budget, we capped that off at 750 and chose to be a little more conservative because we knew and we did actually take a step down in donations due to the hurricane this past fall. And no funds were touched either way. So we're still running in the black for right now.
In going back through your documentation, can we kind of talk about your process for identifying your students? Can you just kind of give us a little bit more information? I see where it says that you speak with some of the school counselors. Is there like a specific list? Do they go by specific guidelines? How does that work?
That's a great question. So we encourage each of our schools to specifically look at the McKinney-Vento population and to make sure that they are not falling through the cracks when considering families who would benefit from this program. We do rely on, kind of the blind faith and rely that our school contacts, whether it's the social worker, the counselor, they know their families best. And so they are the ones who actually identify. There is nothing that a family has to do in order to qualify for a bag for us. We do ask that they sign a simple permission form, but they are not having to go through any type of qualification type procedure.
And then with your delivery process, I know you said that's discreet and that's really good. Thank you for that. How is that handled? Do you deliver it to where they've documented where they're staying, or is it something that is done outside, like after school hours or something? What is that process?
So we deliver directly to the schools, and each of our schools have a little bit different process, whether it's discreet run through the office on Friday afternoon to pick up your backpack before you get on the bus. Sometimes bags are delivered discreetly into classrooms during lunch times when students aren't in there, but there's never really a time that we're aware of that you're not being called to the office, you're not being made, taken out of your class, or somebody's coming in and saying, here's your bag of food. That is 100% what we don't want to happen, and we're very specific with our communications to our schools for them to handle it in a way that works best for them, that's very discreet. Thank you. You're welcome.
Commissioner Bergman, Commissioner Hunt, any other questions? All right, thank you so much, ladies. All right, Sarah from Caterpillar Ministries, you're next.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the Town Board, and fellow Huntersville residents. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to speak on behalf of Huntington Green, a vibrant and resilient community that many in Huntersville simply haven't had the chance to see up close. It's not just a mobile home park. Huntington Green is the third oldest neighborhood in Huntersville, established in 1969 and one of the largest home communities, mobile home communities in the state of North Carolina, with more than 2,200 residents living across 350 homes, many shared by multiple families due to the realities of today's housing cost. It's a neighborhood full of life, hope, and history, but for years it has operated just outside the public eye. Infrastructure didn't keep up, services were limited, families faced challenges like poverty, drugs, crime, teenage pregnancy, language barriers, and a lack of access to resources. But they never gave up. For the past 18 years, we've walked with this community, and the momentum is powerful. 19 high school students graduated this year, and every one of them is doing what CMS schools hope for: enrolled in college, enlisted in the military, or employed. Many of these teens work throughout high school to help support their families and will continue to do so while in college. We also celebrated 3 college graduates this year from Appalachian State, Queen's University, and UNCC, now all working full-time in their professions of choice: interior design, accounting, and logistics. And the most beautiful part of it all, they want to stay. They want to raise their families in the very neighborhood that raised them. That's transformation. Let me also be clear about this. The families of Huntington Green are Huntersville. They are your restaurant chefs. They are your restaurant managers. They are your grocery store stockers. They're your school cafeteria workers. They're your school custodians, construction teams, hotel housekeepers, landscapers, store clerks. They are not them. They are us. This funding is about continuing the momentum, addressing very real needs. Over 125 families are facing food insecurity this summer. We've raised enough funding to serve 60. 44 elementary students are 1 to 3 grade levels behind. We have to do something different. This is not just a Huntington Green issue. This is a Charlotte, Mecklenburg, and Huntersville issue. It's ours collectively. Our ESL classes are growing rapidly, and parents and kids are on wait lists. We're building stronger referral pipelines to connect families without health insurance to trusted providers for physical and emotional care. We have requests for mental health support, parenting help, crisis intervention, domestic abuse help. They've all increased significantly, and we're responding family by family. These are not just handouts. These are hand-built, neighbor-led, community-grown solutions. What makes our approach different is our deep-rooted presence in Huntington Green and our commitment to collaboration. We work side by side with organizations like Ada Jenkins, Cook Community Clinic, Angels and Sparrows, Augustine Literacy Project, our home schools of Torrance Creek, Bradley Middle, Hopewell High School, and Aspire Trade School, and many more, some of who are in this room tonight. We don't duplicate services, we bridge gaps and strengthen networks. Now, I want to speak respectfully to those who may wonder, should public funds go to a nonprofit with faith roots? Some may hesitate to fund a nonprofit with faith roots. I totally get that. But please know, no one's required to pray in our programs. No one's asked to attend church. No one's asked to attend Bible study. No one is excluded. We don't ask. We don't require. It doesn't matter to us. Our faith motivates us to show up, but it never, ever determines who gets served. This isn't about religion, it's about return. For every dollar invested in programs like ours, you save $7 to $10 in public cost. We are not asking you to fix anything. We're asking you to keep investing in what's already working. Huntington Green is not a burden. It's a neighborhood full of hope, hard work, and untapped potential. This funding tells our neighbors, you are seen, you are valued, you are Huntersville. Let's keep moving forward together. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Bursman?
Hey, first of all, I loved your application. I love the level of detail that you provided, both the anecdotes and the data. So thank you for that. I really appreciate. One thing, and this will probably be a conversation for not tonight, but one part of your application, and you talk about other aspects like infrastructure, code enforcement, and things that the town may be able to do better. I would love, to facilitate a way that we can have more conversation about that. And then just finally, because you did mention it, I wanted to make sure that from last year, and my perspective is not, your faith is a beautiful thing. I just want to make sure that tax dollars were not going. So when you said in your application, that all religious activity is voluntary, that's all I need to hear.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Commissioner Walsh? Dumas?
I don't have a question. I just want to say that that was beautiful and very heartfelt. And yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Down under expenses, looks like you're trying to bump up the salaries. Again, nothing wrong with that, but it looks like you found some significant changing in operating expenses by, $40,000 or $1,000. Where did you find those savings?
Those savings were found in, honestly, I'm doing the grant writing now, and I wasn't. So to be able to help our staff, which 4 of our staff are neighbors, to help them get a living wage, I chose to start writing the grants so our staff could get paid a little bit better, so we could keep our staff intact.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you so much. Hope House, Debbie, you're up.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Town Commissioners. My name is Debbie O'Hanley, and I stand before you on behalf of the Hope House Foundation, not just as a representative of a nonprofit, but as a voice for the unsheltered women, children, and essential workers in our community who are desperately seeking stability and a place to call home. Hope House Foundation was created as a catalyst for social change by our own Dr. Lindquist, a Huntersville resident. Every day, we work to end homelessness for families and children through transitional housing, case management, supportive services that all empower our families to become economically self-sufficient. Homelessness is not just a statistic, and homelessness does not discriminate. It's a mother sleeping in her car while trying to get her kids to school. It's a child experiencing behavioral and emotional trauma at 3 times the rate of their peers. It's a teacher or a first responder, people we all rely on, priced out of the very community they work in. These are the people we serve, and these are the people whose lives are transformed by the work of the Hope House. Over the past year, with immense community support, including land gifted by this town, the Hope House Foundation has built 2 new homes and has expanded our services. With that, we have also purchased 3 additional lots, but the need continues to grow. Our screening calls are up by over 40% from last year, and more we are receiving calls from those folks who are employed but unable to sustain housing due to rising costs of housing. Our new Hope Work Housing Initiative is more than a housing project. It is rooted in the work that the Hope House Foundation has done since 2011, working with families in crisis and in transition. Hope Works is simple. It is a response to a growing crisis of affordability that threatens the diversity, strength, and sustainability of Huntersville and surrounding towns. This initiative was carefully designed to offer opportunities, stability, and a sense of belonging to individuals and families who are currently facing housing insecurity. Today, I ask you to continue your investment in this vision. The requested funding will help us open 2 new constructed homes, maintain our current properties, including our 4,000 square foot community living home with 16 individuals in it currently, build 3 additional homes to expand our reach even further, and provide the utilities and program supplies essential to deliver life-changing services. This isn't just about buildings, it's about building lives. Our wraparound services, from financial empowerment and employment coaching to trauma-informed counseling and youth development, create real, measurable change. When a woman stabilizes, her children thrive. When an essential worker can afford to live in the town they serve, our entire community benefits. We currently serve around 65 individuals, but with this funding, we will be able to increase the number to 75, directly impacting more town of Huntersville's residents, while also engaging countless others through volunteerism, mentorship, and civic partnerships. And while we are committed to sustainability through diverse funding streams, in-kind donations, and private philanthropy, the support of the town of Huntersville is vital to our growth and ability to respond to the increasing crisis of housing insecurity. Without it, construction plans for our new homes may be delayed, and families, and the very workers that keep this town running, will continue to struggle in silence. But with your continued partnership, each additional home we build means one less family on the street and one more future restored. Commissioners, we're asking you to join us in building a healthier, stronger, and more equitable Huntersville, one family, one home at a time. Thank you.
Any questions? Commissioner Bergsman?
Can you help, because I'm trying to remember if I remember this correctly. So to qualify, when someone's qualifying for assistance and they have a child, a boy who's, over a certain age, I feel like I've heard that you have an age cutoff when their children, when they have sons.
In the main
essentially.
house, what we call the crisis home, we have room for 16 individuals. We don't take boys over the age of 11 because it's a community. It's like your home. We can't protect their adolescence. We can in the cottages, and we can in the new builds.
That just answered my follow-up. I was wondering if the cottages helps fill that gap.
We currently have an 11-year-old in there.
Okay, thanks.
Commissioner Walsh?
I just want to thank you for all you do for the community, as well as the other nonprofits, and also your funding requests have been pretty consistent each year, and we appreciate that I know everybody's trying to do more with less, but you've kept that at the same amount each year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? Thank you. Next is Pottstown Heritage Group, but before that, we need to recuse Commissioner Rivers. So can I get a motion to recuse Commissioner Rivers?
Motion to recuse Commissioner Rivers.
And is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? All right, Commissioner Rivers, you're recused.
Good evening. Unlike Harold, I need new glasses, so it's very hard to see sometimes. But good evening, commissioners and community partners. My name is Rachel Zwift, representing the Pottstown Heritage Group as the chair. a nonprofit dedicated to restoring, revitalizing, and preserving Pottstown in Huntersville. Tonight, we are here to request your support for the Rooted in Safety program, as well as the Heritage Preservation Program that you funded last year. The Rooted in Safety program, which I'm going to talk about mainly tonight, since it is a new program, is a critical initiative that addresses the hidden dangers, issues affecting dozens of families, hazardous trees that are literally towering over homes and threatening lives and properties. This program was created in response to direct resident concern. Overgrown trees, some over 150 feet tall, are doubling the height of our homes. Storms have already broken massive limbs, leaving homes in the dark for days and damaging property. We recently surveyed 14 homes. The average cost for professional tree removal is about $3,167 per household. I believe the total was about almost $35,000 just for those 14 homes. That cost is mostly on our elderly or fixed income residents that they cannot afford. But the Rooted in Safety program isn't just about cutting trees, it's about community safety, environmental sustainability, and equality. We want to ensure that all the neighbors receive the same level of cares, just not those with more resources or newer infrastructure.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie Brown, and I am the vice chair of the Pottstown Heritage Group. So I'm just going to basically talk about funding, partnerships, and the impact with our Rooted in Safety program, and why it matters to you as community leaders. We're not asking the town to take this on alone. We've already identified partner organizations, including Trees Charlotte and the North Carolina Forest Service. We're exploring a sliding scale model where residents contribute what they can. The PHG supplements costs through grants and donations. We're also activating residents through volunteered care days, tree education workshops, and local testimonies. We're building awareness and skills that will last beyond the life of a tree. And here's where you come in. Your endorsement and potential support would unlock momentum. It tells our community that you see them, that their safety matters, that this board understands the value of prevention rather than waiting of disaster. The residents have spoken, some quietly, some urgently. We hope you'll stand with them tonight by approving Rooted in Safety as a recognized town-supported initiative. Let's work together to protect our people, preserve our legacy, and build a safer, greener Huntersville. Okay. Well, thank you for your time, your leadership, and your willingness to hear us.
So much. Commissioner Davis? Yep.
I was just wondering if maybe for the Rooted in Safety program, there might be opportunity to work with the new arborist.
Can't hear you.
Sorry. I was just thinking, we have a new arborist working with us, and I thought, have you considered, or have you, I don't know if you knew about this yet, but I think it's a good opportunity to work in this program with the new arborist in town, potentially. So just mentioning that. Yeah, we can get you connected.
And more so with the arborists, they're more likely to show us where to plant new trees or hope or.
My understanding of an arborist is that they will like help you conserve the healthy trees and give you advice and guidance on what limbs should be cut and what can be done to save the trees, and for safety reasons, which trees need to go, which trees to plant. That's my understanding. So I think it would be a really good fit with the program. That way, we, like, one of my concerns, or not a concern, I guess, but one of my thoughts was, how do we make sure we're cutting down the right trees, I guess? Like, what if one can be saved and it's just about some of the limbs that need to get gone? Oh, gosh. Long day? Yes, it's been a long day. But, I think that it could be a good partnership.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, Commissioner Hunt?
Can you explain a little bit how Trees Charlotte and the NC Forest Service are helping?
So they're not helping directly yet. We reached out to Tree Charlotte last year. They would be able to help us replant new trees in wherever we dug some up, which we have about 5 on that list that have to be completely gone, but to bring back the trees back to that one. We're going to reach out to the arborist shortly. North Carolina Forestry Service, because that was a new resource brought to us.
Excuse me. You didn't, so it was in the application packet, you talked a little bit about your successes from the funding from last year, but you didn't mention in your presentation. I would love to hear a little bit about how, how that money was used and, the success you had there.
So we were awarded $10,000 last year. As of today, we've been able to go through about $8,300, but that doesn't include, we were able to partner with the CDC, so some of that funding has been brought down, so we're able to fulfill a couple more applications. As of this week, we have 6 done, but I believe another one was completed after I sent in the report. So we have about 5 more on the list that we hope that we're able to go ahead and get through with the rest of the remaining of the funding. They were smaller projects, and also, again, use the CDC as a barrier to help negate some of those costs, as well as using a local church that's been doing some volunteer work to help bring down some of that cost as well.
Excellent job on that. And then I just kind of wanted to be clear too, the amount that you're asking for this year, are you only asking for the rooted in safety? Or is some of it you plan on designate to the critical home repair too? So
we asked to be able to start the rooted in safety as well as continue on with our critical repair project.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Commissioner Walsh has given me the signal.
Sorry. Is these critical repairs, you've got operating expenses of $22,000, is that where these critical repairs are coming out of? I was trying to figure what.
It's separate. We have it separated from what the town of Huntersville awarded us and what other.
No, in your budget here, you've got salaries and expenses, then you have operating expenses of $22,000, is that?
So our operating expenses, it's not all out of this, it's not out of the town funding, it's out of our other funding as well. Is that what the question was?
Yeah, I was just wondering, is that, of the $22,000, what is that? Is that these critical repairs?
Some of it is critical repair, it's the programs, it's the community engagement, as well as our other initiatives that we do have. We have a Pottstown Cares program that gives directly back to our residents. So it's a mixture of all the programs that we do have as our operating expenses.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Next is the North Carolina. Oh, we didn't, thank you. I was going to forget that. Can I get a motion to get Commissioner Rivers back? No. I'm looking at you, Nick Walsh.
I make a motion to bring Commissioner Rivers back.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? All right, will somebody get Commissioner Rivers for me? Commissioner Walsh? All right.
And I apologize, if you don't mind, before we begin, I would like to say, and because we pride ourselves on being a transparent board, I wanted to give an explanation as to why I had to recuse myself, which I am one of the founding members for the Pottstown Heritage Group, but I pride myself on integrity. This board prides themselves on integrity, and therefore I wanted to ensure that you all are protected, as well as the board members of the Pottstown Heritage Group. So thank you in supporting my decision for recusal. I am no longer an active member and have not been for the past 2 years since being a sitting commissioner. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivers. All right, now we have North Carolina Youth Orchestra.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. Thank you, Huntersville Town Commissioners, Huntersville staff, and also our fellow nonprofits. I'd also like to mention that Commissioner Quarles is on our advisory board. I can see he recused himself from this whole meeting, so I'm gonna pay for that later. I know, that's a mic drop. Okay, I'm April Dunn. I'm the Director of Finance for the North Carolina Youth Orchestra, and I've been personally impacted by this organization for 13 years. I'll tell you a little bit about that in a moment. But who is the North Carolina Youth Orchestra? We're probably the best kept secret in the Huntersville area. 4.5 miles up the road here, we have 24 and a half hours of instruction a week with 21 classes. We have 3 days of instructions. We have opportunities for life-changing musical instruction for our area children with zero barrier to entry. We never turn a child away for lack of payment. As far as economic impact and impact in our community, we've actually had an combined audience of over 13,000 people this season with 31 different performance opportunities for our children. We've partnered with nonprofit organizations for 4 major service projects to give our children a chance to give back in their community on top of learning a wonderful skill. Our faculty is comprised largely of Charlotte Symphony performers who come up here 3 days a week and teach our area children. Huntersville is our largest demographic of students. This past season, 30% of our students came from Huntersville. That's remarkable. This next season already, out of our applications and registrations, we have 31% for Huntersville. And we see it increasing, and I'm going to tell you about that in a second. Well, I'll tell you about it now. One of the things we did this year in order to broaden our base with the area towns was offer a protege program. And it was a pilot program. We offered it to Lake Norman Charter, St. Mark's Catholic, and Bailey Middle School. And what we said was, your beginning band and orchestra students, have them enroll in our programs for free. And we're going to give them a basis that they would not normally have in music, and it's going to help your programs, and it did. These were the principals in their programs for our students. They had wonderful instruction, a wonderful opportunity, and it was so successful that we decided to expand it to include North Academy of World Languages. So now 3 out of our 4 protege programs are Huntersville students, and comprised of Huntersville students. What has been our economic impact for Huntersville this season? We've had an economic investment of $31,500, and that is broken down with the actual expenses, direct expenses for Huntersville concerts and activities of $3,110. We've had full scholarships of $9,000 offered to our Huntersville residents, and then we've had $18,000 of partial scholarships offered. What we anticipate this coming season is a offering 35 full-paid scholarships just through the Protege program, not including our partial scholarships and other scholarships for kids that need it. So we see a need just in Protege of $31,500 for the scholarships that we offer to the Huntersville residents. Now, personally, I mentioned I'd say this. When we came to Huntersville in 2012, we had a daughter, 7 years old at the time, had just started playing violin. And she was a little different, musicians often are, and she started with this program. And back then it was 1 program and 18 kids. She worked her way up. We had a new director, executive director. We added programs, and she was able to not only get better at her instrument, but also have leadership opportunities. That directly impacted her ability to get a college scholarship. She has almost all of her tuition paid for with East Carolina. She's doing a music education degree right now as rising junior, and she credits the North Carolina Youth Orchestra for that impact and the 11 seasons that she played. And we have countless stories of kids being impacted. Very excited to have Huntersville as our largest demographic and to be able to provide this service to our residents. Any questions?
Any questions? Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
You mentioned a couple of schools that were chosen for your protege program. How did you choose those schools?
We basically chose it based on the relationship we had with the existing band and orchestra directors, and they were open to it. We've had trouble getting into schools sometimes, because sometimes the band and orchestra directors see us as a threat. We do have a policy that we do enforce. If you are currently enrolled in a school orchestra or band program, you cannot quit your program to be in our programs. You have to do both. We don't want to let our schools down. And we've had to let students go because they said, oh, I want to drop out of my school program and just do this. We provide a lot of opportunities to our kids. But we're like, nope, sorry, you're out of our program too, which is hard to enforce. Yeah, especially when it's a violist and you really need violas. So, yeah.
Commissioner Rivers?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I wanted to say thank you for your hard work. Definitely have seen you all out in the community. When you were first presented to us, I did not know who you all were and had not heard of you all. So it is a blessing to see you all out in the community. I think I've seen you perform like 3 or 4 times. I've even had the opportunity to participate, so I'm excited.
Pictures.
But just seeing you out in the community is amazing, so thank you for that. Now, I do want to know, are you willing to get out and to build more relationships with other schools in the Huntersville area?
100%. Yes, we have something we call Musical Pathways Initiative that takes, we do this on our own dime. We actually lose a significant amount of money every year on it. Even with the sponsorship dollars, we get to do it, where we go into area schools and we do an assembly with our team of Charlotte Symphony performers that introduce children to the families of the orchestra, the different instruments. Some of these kids have never seen a bassoon or a clarinet or an oboe. And then we invite them to the Instrument Discovery Day, which you were participated in last month, and they have a chance to actually play real instruments with our faculty, showing them how to do it. And of course, again, we don't turn any child away from our program. We have pathways of advancement from very beginning all the way to their senior year, and some even post-grad. We have returning alumni every year that participate in our programs.
And what's the beginning age?
For our woodwind and brass, we usually say 8 or 9, just mouth development. It's hard to play a trumpet when you don't have teeth. It's hard to play a trumpet when you do have teeth. And then for our strings and percussion, we say 6. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Beds for Kids is next.
All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Rachel Grother, and I'm with Beds for Kids. Our mission is to provide beds and essential furniture to children and their families in need. And so tangibly, that looks like as long as there's at least one child in the home who needs a bed, we can fully furnish the whole house, so for the rest of the family as well. And we serve an average of 30 families a week in Charlotte, and so that's Mecklenburg and Cabarrus counties. And we identify our families through the help of a lot of different referral partners, some of which are in the room, like Caterpillar Ministries and Ada Jenkins. But we have over 70 other partners as well, and the school system would be a common use case as well. Each of the families that we serve are really different and unique and special to us. And I wanted to share one story of a delivery that I got to go on just recently. It was a single mom and her 4 kids, and all of them were home. They were school-aged kids, but school is out for the summer. And so they were all really excited about their furniture, and they offered to help us bring in the furniture. That's certainly not required, but this family was ready to get it in the house. And so they were all very sweetly interacting with each other, encouraging each other to like take a heavier item and to use their quote football strength and that sort of thing. And so it was just like really fun to interact with that family. And there was a moment where each of the 4 kids were putting their sheets on their new beds in the room, and you could just see their faces light up. And the mom pulled me into the hallway, and we had a little bit of a one-on-one conversation, and she shared a little bit more about their story and their background, and they were coming out of a domestic violence situation, and she had recently gotten into therapy for herself and had been diagnosed with depression. And so that was something that I never would have guessed just on like first impression, first interactions with her and her family. And so that is just, that's a recent story. That's a story that stands out to me because I think that you often don't know who needs what, which of your neighbors need which items. And furniture is behind closed doors, and so that's a need that, in general, I think we need help spreading the word about. And so I wanted to share that one. But like I said, we serve a lot of different families, and they're all coming out of different situations. In 2024, we served 1,406 families in Charlotte, and the need is not decreasing. And so I wanted to share a little bit more about Huntersville specifically. We served 149 people that are Huntersville residents. In 2024, we've already served at least 12 families in Huntersville for this year, and that was just when we pulled the numbers for this report. And then we anticipate for 2026 that we would be at 165 families without any additional funding from the town. But we think with funding, we would be able to increase our capacity to serve, and that could be up to 180 people in Huntersville that we could serve with beds and furniture that they need. So I would love to answer any questions if I can.
Any questions? Commissioner Bursman?
Just two questions in one. I actually am not familiar with your organization, so this is, it's new to me. How long have you been around the organization, not you specifically?
Yeah, Beds for Kids has existed since 2011.
And one of the things that I noticed in your in the application kind of spoke to a bit about, trauma-informed care, resource hub. Can you tell me more about, is there other services you provide in addition to the furniture? What did that mean exactly?
Yeah, so we really love, we really love our partner model, and so we focus specifically on the furniture. We're a once-in-a-lifetime service. There are certainly circumstances where there's exceptions, but we don't have caseworkers on staff ourselves, but we work really closely with partners that do, and so they help us identify and talk with the families and get to know them better.
Any other questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hugh Torrance House, you are next.
Well, Mayor Clark, I think I need to recuse because I'm on the Hugh Torrance board.
You do. That is a true statement. Can I get a motion to recuse Commissioner Bursman?
I make a motion that we recuse Commissioner Bergsman for the Hugh Torrance House.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? All right. Thank you so much. All right, you can.
Hello and good afternoon, and thank you for having us. I'm Abigail Jennings, and this is Ron Potts, and we are board members for the Hugh Torrance House and Store. I do have a printed copy of our annual report for you all to take a look at, and we're so happy to be here today. My first visit with you all was in 2022 when we began the Hearts mission at the Hugh Torrance House and Store. At that time, they were having a little bit more than 200 visitors per year, and I think that's the first thing we need to talk about is that first page there. In 2024, we welcomed 2,823 people to our site, and that number is continuing to grow. This site is important for Huntersville because it is the oldest standing store in North Carolina, and the history at this site runs threads through every historical site and neighborhood here in our town and region and really throughout our state. We just had a very big date here that you hopefully all are aware of May 20th, 2025, which was the anniversary of the MEC deck. And many of those people lived here, and it was not called Huntersville then, but in this region. And not only did those people were here, but also the unknown story of many enslaved people. And that those ties run very deeply in Huntersville, and we're doing a lot of work in that area. We, last year at our annual event called Junion, and there is some information in there for this year's Junion. We actually had to postpone it, so you haven't missed it. It is June 28th this year. Every year we build on the things that we are learning. And last year we presented a definitive list of 143 names of enslaved people at Cedar Grove on that property. And that's really just the tip of the iceberg of the things that we are doing there, researching and growing the site. We do have some initiatives to this coming year that we are working on. We have located the foundations of the original kitchen, and we are working on a feature for that. The boxwood garden that is in the middle between Cedar Grove and Hugh Torrance House and Store, we've had research done on that. It was planted at the time of Cedar Grove of 1831. And so we are creating a new boxwood garden as a memorial to all descendants that ever lived or worked on that land that we're looking forward to sharing with the community as well. Hearts, hopefully you have heard of Hearts, but I would be remiss to not review that. Stands for History, Ecology, Arts, Reunion, Trails, and Store. And it did all start with the Hugh Torrance House and Store, and has since just continues to grow and connect more historic places. Let's see, other things that we are doing there are just bringing in tours, increasing our field trips, outreaching with more schools. Hopefully we can have even more this year. You may see our request for funds was higher than what we did receive last year. We did actually get a little cut back last year, and we did proceed with our plans regardless of not receiving those funds and put a lot back into that building. And our community programs are completely free to the community, so we do not charge any admission, no barriers of entry there, and we just want to keep doing more of that. In addition, we have another element in our proposal this year to work more closely with the town of Huntersville to help with historic preservation. We are very, everyone can see it happening around us as the landscape continues to change. We are losing many important historic properties that sometimes that no one knows their importance until they're gone. So we want to be that resource wherever we can. I have been invited to go actually visit the Mayberry House this week to see what we can do, some other solutions there. But we want to be that resource for the town. We are really the town's historic site of that we want to just make well known within our region and state and hopefully country. I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have for me.
Any questions? No. No questions. But
Okay,
you.
thank you
I
so
drive-
much.
I drive by all the time and see the area full there, so I know y'all are busy with activities and visitors, and so it's good to see it staying busy.
Lots going on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our last agency is the Carolina Raptor Center. Oh, we need to bring Alicia back. Can I get a motion to bring Commissioner Bergsman back?
I would like to make a motion that we bring Commissioner Bergsman back.
Can we have a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? All right. Someone get Commissioner Bergsman.
I think we skipped Rural Hill? They didn't, okay, just verifying that.
Anybody from Carolina Raptor Center here? So I think that concludes our external agency requests. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate the work you do in our town. I know I see your work every day in my life as a school teacher, so thank you for what you do, and we appreciate you taking the time tonight to share with us. We will be back at